The financial crisis will take everything. In 2007, the United States housing market collapsed. This led to the financial crisis of 2008 and a global recession. The financial crisis will take everything. How the financial crisis of 2008 will take everything from you. To discuss how the collapse of the housing market led to this financial crisis and that it was a global recession. The financial crisis will take everything. It will take your jobs, your homes, your retirement funds, and even your hope. This is the opening sentence of a book titled The Financial Crisis: What Happened? By John Maudlin. The first sentence of this passage is an example of a hyperbole. A hyperbole is an exaggeration used for emphasis or to produce a strong emotional response. This exaggeration can be seen in the last sentence of the paragraph where John Maudlin says that the financial crisis will take everything away. So, you need to know the facts about this financial crisis. A financial crisis is when the economy collapses because of a lack of money. This is what happened during the Great Depression. The Great Depression was one of the worst economic crises in U.S. history, with unemployment rates reaching 25%. The financial crisis and the future of the economy. The financial crisis has been a major event in the last 2 decades. It has reshaped the future of the economy and how we think about it. The financial crisis was caused by a number of factors, including an increase in mortgage defaults and the liquidity crisis. The economic downturn caused by the financial crisis led to a recession that lasted from December 2007 to June 2009. The unemployment rate increased from 4% in 2007 to 10% in 2009. This is one of the longest recessions since World War II. The most significant consequence of this recession was that it led to a decrease in consumption and spending, which lowered production levels, thereby affecting GDP negatively. In 2008, the United States economy went into a recession due to the subprime mortgage crisis. This led to a decrease in consumption and spending, which lowered production levels, thereby affecting GDP negatively. The most significant consequence of this recession was that it led to a decrease in consumption and spending, which lowered production levels, thereby affecting GDP negatively. The financial crisis is a period of economic turmoil that began in 2007 and peaked in the fall of 2008. The crisis was triggered by a banking panic that resulted in the collapse of the investment bank Lehman Brothers on September 15, 2008. This event led to a global financial meltdown because Lehman Brothers was one of the largest investment banks in the world. The effects of this crisis are still being felt today, and it has been called the Great Recession. It is considered to be the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. The financial crisis and the future of economy. The financial crisis of 2007 to 2008 is considered to be one of the most significant crises in the history of modern capitalism. It was a global event that led to a recession and a downturn in economic activity, which is still being felt across the world. This section discusses the effects of the financial crisis on the economy and what it means for future economic growth. In the last few decades, economic globalization has been a major factor in the development of the world economy. This process has been driven by multinational corporations and international financial institutions, which have created a global market system that is primarily focused on short-term profit. The financial crisis of 2008 showed that this system had many flaws and was not sustainable in its current form. The crisis resulted in a massive loss of jobs and wealth, as well as an increase in poverty around the globe. It also led to a series of bailouts for banks and other financial institutions through government intervention. A new model is needed for the future economy, one that will prioritize long-term growth over short-term profits, one that will be more inclusive and fairer to all people around the world. Economic globalization emerged in the 1970s and 1980s as a response to the economic crisis of the post-World War II era. The process was driven largely by multinational corporations, international financial institutions, and governments. Many countries joined this model to avoid falling into an economic depression. This process has been primarily focused on short-term profit rather than long-term growth and sustainability. This can be seen in job losses due to outsourcing, increased poverty around the world due to inequality, and bailouts of debt. How to prepare for the next financial crisis. The 2008 financial crisis was a watershed moment in the history of the United States. The country has been recovering ever since. But it's not too late to prepare for the next economic downturn. The best way to prepare for an impending economic downturn is to make sure that you have a plan in place and that you are financially stable. That means having an emergency fund of at least 3 months' worth of expenses, paying off any debt, saving up enough money to cover your living needs for at least 6 months, and making sure that your retirement account is fully funded. The 2008 financial crisis was a watershed moment in the history of the United States. The country has been recovering ever since. But it's not too late to prepare for the next economic downturn. The best way to prepare for an impending economic downturn is to make sure that you have a plan in place and that you are financially stable. That means having an emergency fund of at least 3 months' worth of expenses, paying off any debt, saving up enough money to cover your living needs. Please like if you've learned something and subscribe for more. Have a good one.